It's 8 a.m. and a beautiful 81 degrees in Dakar, Senegal. You're listening to Lofi Poli Sci. Oh, yeah, it's your Monday morning edition of that Lofi Poli Sci podcast. I'm your host, Michael Pickering, and we're here to talk about that famous question, what's going on in the world today? We'll get you your local traffic and your 5-day weather in just a minute. But now, straight to it, the news fresh off that press. Now, let's head over to the UK to talk about, well, what is everyone talking about these days? There's only two things dominating headlines at the moment. If it ain't Afghanistan, it's Haiti. And that's it, straight up. The news cycle is inundated with both of these. And really, while both of these are important stories, that doesn't mean they're the only thing going on. Oh, no. Remember, there's about 198 other countries out there in the world. And we got lots of lo-fi global news coming at you all week, talking about every single one of them. Well, as many as we can. But for now, let's do a little bit of a melange of two things, having to do with Afghanistan, but really the future, and with several other countries and the global economy. You see, last week, Dr. Worth and I, we were talking about what's the West going to do if the Taliban start acting in a way that, well, the West doesn't really like. And point blank, we said the only thing out there that the West could do or would do is sanctions. And wouldn't you know, just this Sunday, the UK announces that they are going to ask for sanctions against the Taliban at a meeting of the G7 on this coming Tuesday. And just so you know, who's the G7? That'd be the UK, the US, Japan, Italy, France, Germany, and Canada. 7 of the top economies of the world who get together every so often to try to decide how they're going to dominate this year. And they decide and they're going to talk about sanctioning the Taliban. This is the beginning of it, people, of exactly what we were talking about last week. About countries moving on, about countries tragically not caring. You know, they'll throw around the word sanctions here and there, trade embargoes maybe, diplomatic isolation, you know. But will they help, physically help, anyone in the country? I mean, as soon as these evacuations are finished, which they are scheduled to be over in about 7 days on October 31st, we'll see the answer to this question very, very soon. Eyes open, Lo-Fi listeners. Now let's head east to a connected story in some ways, but let's make a stop over in Russia, where longtime Russian vampire Vlad the Impaler Putin, a.k.a. President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, well, he's saying everything looks good in Afghanistan to him. He says the Taliban seem to be holding their word, and maybe his belief in that is part of the reason why he is not for taking in refugees from Afghanistan, especially the ones that are headed to the West, but they haven't gotten their travel visas just yet. And so the U.S. and others are trying to see if they can stay in neighboring Central Asian countries. And Vlad Putin says he does not want militants coming into the country under the disguise of refugees. And he doesn't want that happening to his neighbor countries either. This is a big signal, people. President Putin is straight up telling neighboring Central Asian countries, yo, people, you like Russian money and Russian gas and Russian diplomatic and economic ties, then don't take in these refugees. That's a pretty big statement. But who knows? I mean, it is Russia, after all. This is all, we'll just have to wait and see for a minute. That's just our lo-fi lookout for the day. Now let's switch gears to bring you that local Metro New Orleans traffic report for all you commuters out there this morning. Travel on the Causeway Bridge coming in from the North Shore should be okay as far as fog and rain goes, neither really up and around. Just make sure you got some good tunes for that 20-minute bridge ride, and hope no wrecks and no traffic jams after we air this. And if you're thinking about using I-10 westbound between Ridgeway Boulevard and Michoud Boulevard, expect delays, as the left lane is scheduled to be closed until 6 p.m. And if you were thinking about taking that Algiers Canal ferry over the Mississippi River, you should find alternative transport, as the ferry will be out for the next 3 days as construction begins on the ferry terminal. There will be a running bus going across the river, so check for departure times if you still gotta go that route. And outside of that, avoid the traffic if you can. Stay in, relax, enjoy an extra cup of coffee or tea Either one. I think they're both great. And that's your local metro traffic report. But now let's head on over to Thailand. Last week we talked about monarchies in the world still having power, even in 2021. And we brought up the country of Malaysia. But today, we're talking about the monarchy of Thailand. You see, the parliament of the country, the opposition in the parliament, that is, wanted to cut the royal budget. Oh, but no, they did not get their way. In a place where you can get 15 years for breaking lèse majesté laws. That's for talking bad about the crown. What is the royal budget that they secured for another year? $262 million for the next fiscal year. $262 million, damn! I mean, monarchies taking taxpayer money. It's the same old story as it was 1,000 years ago. Just now, they're saying it's legal, doing it with a parliament. Question mark? But hey, this monarchy still has some power, I will say that, and does indeed do some things politically. I mean, it's not like the useless British royal family, that only argue and do, nothing. That in 2020 costed British taxpayers, wait for it, about $69 million. Woo-hoo! Making all that money just because of who your daddy is. Bloodlines and bullshit, that's what we call it here at Lofi Poli Sci. But again, that's just another Lo-Fi lookout. Now, we're going to do a bit of sports talk, but not all Jiminy today. Oh no, don't worry about that. Today, we're taking a second to talk about Turkmenistan getting their first Olympic medal ever in the country's history. And you all know I ain't big into sports, but man, this is cool. I'm all about new and independent countries getting a bit of international recognition every now and again, especially for something not horrible. But a 21-year-old woman by the name of Polina Garyeva made history for her country in the weightlifting event, getting the silver medal. And when she got home, El Presidente of the country, what did he have waiting for her? Oh, nothing less than a brand new Lexus SUV and $50,000 cash. Ooh, who knew weightlifting in Turkmenistan was where it's at? Congratulations, Polina, for making history for your country. Now let's get all of you your 5-day weather forecast for New Orleans and Guatemala City, Guatemala. Because why not? It's currently 8 a.m. in New Orleans and a steamy 84 degrees, but feels like 94. And can we just say, damn? Come on. It's 8 a.m. and it already feels like 94 degrees. I'm about ready for some fall weather, people. Something like in Guatemala City, perhaps, where it's a nice 66 degrees. Oh, yeah. All week long, Guatemala City will have a high of about 76 and a low of 60. Ooh, I wish. But part of the reason it'll be so nice in temperature is because all week long it'll be cloudy with a chance of meatballs. And watch out Thursday and Friday for those nighttime meatballs messing with everyone's weekend plans. And a little more local weather for you, NOLA, coming back to us. We're looking at mid-90s on Monday and Tuesday as our highs, and 80 to 81 as the lows. So sucky, sticky weather, ooh, it's hot. And chance of meatballs are low early in the week. But here cometh Wednesday to Friday, still hot, not as hot, but close to as hot, with a low of 79. Ooh, 1 degree less, aren't we so grateful? But then we coming back with that cloudy and a 50% chance of meatballs on Wednesday and Thursday, and about a 38% chance of meatballs on Friday. So here we are again, another week where it's hot, it's humid, it's summer in New Orleans. And that's your 5-day local weather report. And now a last piece of news to send you on your way for the day. NPR's World section. The headline: in Iceland, elf school is in session. And what can I say? Well, I saw this headline and I just couldn't pass it up. I love me some Iceland for so many reasons. Glaciers and volcanoes, all in one. Hot springs surrounded by snow. Of monsters and men. Oh, yes, indeed. But really, Lo-Fi fun read this, people. Or fun listen to it as well. It's a 3-minute clip, or you can read the transcript to hear a story about some elf schools. Because why not? But I refuse to spoil it here. Check it on out. And that's a brief snapshot of what's going on in the world today. Don't forget to check out last week's interview with political scientist Dr. Robert Worth as we discussed everything going down in Afghanistan. And if you didn't catch it, go back and give a listen to Gregory Day's Top 10 from last Tuesday, an introduction to East Asian cinema. Have a wonderful week out there, and I'll see you next time on the Lofi Poli Sci podcast. Pickering, signing off.